We're here at the 2019 annual meeting of the American Psychiatric Association, where we've come to deliver the messages from psychiatric survivors from around the world and capture the reaction from psychiatrists. This is Psychiatrists React.
This is my story of how psychiatry has harmed me. Psychiatry has made me a second-class citizen by deeming me mentally ill. My mental illness diagnosis, along with my time involuntarily hospitalized, restrained, isolated, and forcibly drugged, were used to remove my son from my care. Psychiatry used these experiences of mental breakdown, which many understand to be natural coping mechanisms for what would otherwise be intolerable, traumatic, difficult situations I've gone through, and many others have, to deem me unfit as a parent. My husband at the time had no trouble using my psychiatric label and lots of money to remove our 2-year-old son from my care. I had lovingly raised him for his entire life as a stay-at-home mom. I had never harmed him. I never wanted to harm him. I never hurt or wanted to harm anybody. My son is now nearly 12 years old, and he's been raised for most of his life without me in it or any other mothering figure with him. I'm allowed to see him for 10 overnights a month because of my mental illness label and my quote-unquote emotional or physical impairment. I have no custody. I have no educational decision-making rights. I have no healthcare decision-making rights. After my husband surreptitiously filed for divorce and was able to get a restraining order by using my medical records and mental illness label, I returned to work. I'm a certificated elementary school teacher, and I've been teaching for full-time ever since, and also earned national board certification. It will be 10 years this May 26, 2019, since I lost the right to care for my son as an equal partner with his dad. I have not gone back to the hospital once. I have not had any more mental health crises. The psychiatrist I'm forced to see now has me prescribed an over-the-counter lithium supplement and sees me once a year. Last year, I returned to court in hopes of getting a more equal distribution of time with my son, and I was told by the judge, while it was commendable, my recovery, and a testament to my love for my son, no changes would be made. Thanks to psychiatry, no matter what I do, I'm continuously seen through the lens of being an irrevocably broken, mentally unstable woman.
So sorry what she's going through, but everyone has both sides. We are really not telling the story. We don't know what's actually happened in her life. Exactly, I feel so sorry for what she went through. And she probably would have reached, I don't know, there's a lot of factors involved, I think, in mental space.
Hello, my name is Smith, and this is my video in protest of the 2019 meeting of the American Psychiatric Association. Dear Psychiatry, at age 11 in the year 2012, I was forced into the unspeakable horror that you dare to call a system of mental health after I was fighting in school against the kids who bullied me. The fact that I ended up in the facility at all is totally unfair and unjust. In this facility, I was constantly belittled and bullied by the staff members. And they did this to purposely upset me. And when I got upset, they would say I was having mood swings. And they used this as a means to diagnose me falsely, but purposely, with bipolar disorder, so they could give me increasingly larger amounts of lithium. They overdosed me on lithium more times than I can count. I had terrifying hallucinations. It was to the point where I believed that I had died and gone to hell. There were days in this facility where all I could do was lay on the floor in the fetal position in a puddle of my own vomit. I was 11 years old. And so I say to the psychiatric community, you should be ashamed of yourselves. I want the world to know that I am a fraction of the person that I would have been without psychiatry. My body is still healing from the fallout of all of the drugs I've been put on over the years. I could rattle off a list longer than the scope of this video, just off the top of my head, of all the drugs that I have been put on before I even reached the age of 18. Dear psychiatry, you should feel ashamed.
What did you think?
I can only imagine like the difficulty you face in patients like that as a child. It's hard.
Do you have any sessions or any workshops that are talking about like the effects that it has on young people when they get diagnosed on psychiatric drugs when they're really young?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah. But we do talk about it. Thank you.
As a teenage girl, I was literally sexually assaulted by the psychiatric system. I had gone to my ex-boyfriend's house uninvited, and his parents called the cops on me. They handcuffed me to a stretcher and took me to a hospital in Queens for one night. The second night was spent in a hospital in Manhattan. They had me on suicide watch. I was afraid to go to sleep if somebody was going to be coming into my room every couple minutes. I could not sleep like that because of my history of sexual trauma. I argued with the night nurse about it, and she said that I was getting agitated and that I would have to take something to calm me down. I tried to lower my voice but keep on arguing with her. So they had people bring me a pill, and I was hoping that I could spit it out and not take it in secret because of my fear of sleeping when other people could come into my room. But they saw, so they came back with a needle. And I knew at that point that they were going to inject me in the ass. And I said that I would take the pill. I said, no, and it's okay, I'll take the pill, I will take the pill. They kept ignoring me, they kept coming for me. So there were 4 of them there. And they grabbed me. And I was fighting them, and they carried me. I think each one carried like an arm or a leg. And they put me down on a table, and they held me down on the table, face down. And one of them pulled my pants down and stuck the needle into my ass while the other ones were holding me down. So then they carried me into a seclusion room and left me there for hours. I don't remember how long. Luckily, after that, my parents were able to get me out. But it made me not trust the mental health system anymore. I was extremely angry. I knew that I could never get justice. I knew that nobody would call it sexual assault, even though that's exactly what it felt like. After that, I was hospitalized 2 more times against my will. And each time was less trusting of the system, of people in general. I am currently homeless. I am afraid to get services because I'm afraid that if I get services, then they're going to put me back into the psychiatric system again. I bought some antifreeze. I'm planning to drink it when my money runs out, if I can't get a job by then. I would rather die than go back into the system.
So I just think that's very typical of a lot of patients with psychiatric illness that can't form a trusting therapeutic relationship. And if they can't form a trusting therapeutic relationship, it's the initiation of poor care going forward. So it's really important the first time that psychiatric care is initiated for the person to find someone who they have that relationship with from the beginning.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Nelson, and I am a survivor of domestic violence as well as the local psychiatric system. In mid-2017, I came out of a 2.5-year severely abusive relationship with my ex, and he had always promised me that if I ever tried to leave him, he would come after me and kill me. When I left, I was terrified for my life. I could tell there were signs that he was, in fact, stalking me. I tried to go to local authorities for assistance, and they instead pressed my family that I was suffering psychiatric delusions and convinced my family to have me committed. I don't blame my family for this. They were led by the authorities, but the psychiatric system should have been able to filter this out. When I was put into the system, a total of 6 psychiatrists over a 2-week involuntary commitment process listened to my stories of abuse, of being dragged around by my head, attempted strangulations, broken ribs, all of that. All 6 of them wrote up their determinations and didn't include any information about any abuse. They instead said that I was bipolar, delusional, and paranoid for thinking somebody would be coming after me. And they had me certified as SMI, seriously mentally ill. I was released only based on going to an outpatient clinic where at that time I was also happened to be diagnosed by the local hospital with a traumatic brain injury, and that I was suffering the effects from that. The forced compulsory medications were causing me neurological side effects. I was back at that court-ordered clinic crying to the psychiatrist about it. Her exact words to me were, "Quit using the brain injury as an excuse. It's either Depakote or Abilify, or I will put you at the state hospital." It took me 4 months to overturn the court order and the misdiagnosis, an additional month to overturn the SMI certification and get that decertified. I continue to improve through psychotherapy, through the local domestic violence organizations that are specialized for this. I no longer treat the psychiatric system. It is not trauma-informed. I continue to improve to this day, not no thanks to the system, but despite the system. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you today, and I hope you'll take my concerns very seriously.
Thanks. Thank you. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel that everybody's situation should be taken seriously. Patient comes and someone with survival, I think they should be listening to, and each situation should actually be vetted very well for making diagnosis and moving ahead with treatment. So a lot of thought should be put into making people better, addressing the situation and making sure that they get the best of care.
My name is Michael Skinner. I'm a musician, partner, father, friend, writer, and advocate. And I love being outside in nature. It is all part and parcel of who I am as a human being and also helps to shape my spirituality. I also deal with post-traumatic stress and depression. The trauma and abuse I experienced was chronic and complex. As a child and a teenager, I did not have empowerment, voice, and choice. The sexual, physical, and emotional abuse I experienced was brutal and sadistic, perpetrated upon me and my siblings by my parents and some of their friends. It was a very violent home to live in. There was also neglect and psychological terror. My parents were evil with their actions and deeds. As a young boy, I was made to do perverse things with adults and with other children. It was degrading, humiliating, scary, and it left me full of shame. Later in life, when I had to reach out for help, I was not given empowerment, voice, and choice in the mental health system. I was treated as if I was an imbecile or a young child. All this was acceptable to those treating me because they let me know all too often that I am mentally ill. Once again, I was disempowered, but this time as an adult. No, I was not or am I mentally ill. The trauma and abuse I experienced impacted me mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially. Advocating for myself and others has helped to give me empowerment, voice, and choice. And I take these principles into every facet of my life, including my healing work with my treatment providers over the last several years. They respect and honor my decisions, even when we disagree, and that is so important to me for my healing journey. Some key points to share. I had no love and no community of support as a child and teenager. The brutal and sadistic abuse was evil. It can break one's spirit. Trust and lack thereof is huge because of this trauma and abuse. The shame runs deep and it is pervasive. I am not alone in these experiences. Taking the time to reach out, engage, and show by respect in your actions will help to build a bridge in establishing a relationship of hope, healing, and trust that fully embrace empowerment, voice, and choice. For this may be a lifetime of healing for so many of us.
What did you think?
Yeah. It's a sad story.
Hi, my name is Lucinda. I'm 58 years old. 3 years ago, I had a bad reaction to Lexapro. And instead of realizing that's what was happening, I was put into a facility. God-awful experience. I want you to understand something. I was highly functioning, very happy. I had a granddaughter I adored. I was a mother. I was a daughter. I was a wife. I had a good life. I was working. I had friends. Now I have nothing. I have nothing. I came out of that facility with 7 bottles of pills. 7 bottles of pills. I've never had a mental illness in my life. The psychiatrist I saw started cycling me through all these medications really fast. There was no tapering. There was no easy switch. It was fast, and I didn't know what was going on. I was out of my mind. I was out of my mind. I got to where I couldn't leave my home. Put me on Xanax. And I kept telling him I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. But this man didn't know me. He only saw me as a mental case. The last time I saw him, because I kept telling him I wasn't okay, he told me to just stop taking the medications. I haven't been able to leave my house since.
My Uber is here.
Oh, your Uber's here.
I mean, this happens, and it's a shame, and it shouldn't happen. Okay, this is not typical. It's not typical. You have very good psychiatrists. You have very good medications now. hardly do you find any psychiatrists prescribing benzodiazepine like the Xanax she mentioned. We try to take patients off Xanax. For example, if I see any patient on Xanax, I'll take them off it, okay?
We're now further down the road from the Moscone Center, following the day at the APA's annual meeting. It was a long day, a lot of people saying no to us. It seemed like specifically psychiatrists were not interested in being a part of this video project. We did get a few of them to come on camera and watch the videos and talk with us, but it was a lot of people afraid to be on camera. You know, they were afraid we were Scientologists and that type of thing. So there was a lot of fear. We did get some medical students and different people that work in mental health. If there's any psychiatrists that saw us today that said, no, we don't want to talk to you, I do hope that you take a minute to scroll down below and watch the videos from these people that have been truly harmed by the psychiatric system, and to not discount their voices. Thank you for watching this and being a part of this.